Oh, hello, hello. I'm very close there, I think. My camera is very close. Hello. Welcome to Handmade by Julia Quinn. I'm here with my Thursday afternoon. Fun for everyone. And me too, probably, hopefully. Sharing with you, I'm trying to organise my camera so it's in the right. Anyway, sharing with you a card I have made that you can do yourself. This is a card design I usually do for every year at Christmas time. It just involves a bunch of circles, however you make those circles, whether you do them with a punch or as I've done them with a die. Now, this card is on my blog, was on my blog last night, and it's for the Colour Inspiration Challenge, which directed the colours I've used for my card here. So the colours were Real Red, Coastal Cabana, Pool Party, and Very Vanilla. Okay, so those are the only two inks I've used. And I have used for my card the Stylish Shapes dies. Now, I've used all the circles. As I said, you can do this card using punches or any sorts of circles you've had. I haven't used the biggest circle. I've used the second biggest because I had a big greeting to stick into it. So you don't necessarily have to use that big, but I was decided to use that one because of the size of the greeting. And then I've used all of these, and one of them I used twice. I think that one I used twice. Okay, so that's what I've used for my card, and you can use whatever you've got in your stash to make this same card design. Excuse me. So my card base is Very Vanilla. I've kept it really simple, and then I've got my two Real Red mats, my two Very Vanilla panels for both the inside and the front of the card. And then I have already done my die cutting, so I have one large and three smaller Pool Party circles, which are going to become my baubles. All right, let's start doing the baubles first. I am going to use a bit of scrap paper underneath me, and I'll do the Very Vanilla ones first. Oops, I shouldn't cover everything up there. Do the Very Vanilla ones first with a little bit of Real Red. So the idea of the sponging, to create your round shape, to give it some body, is to only add ink around the outside edge, okay? So I'm only going around the outside edge of my circle. That is it. All right, and because I've gone around the outside edge, it sort of leaves the bit in the middle looking shiny, just by virtue of the fact that it doesn't have any colour on it. Okay, I'm just going to give it a bit more depth. And if you want real depth on the edges, you can just go around with your, hold it in the air and do it. But I prefer the smoothness of going flat on the table. Okay, so not putting any red at all in the center of my circle, and it looks like it's red because of the surrounding colors around it. Okay, so there's my largest one. Here's my next one. Around and round and round. Only putting colour right on the outside edges. Okay. While I've got my red ink open, I'll do some stamping as well on both of those circles. So this one's my feature circle. So it's going to have my greeting from the Oriental Christmas. This is a great stamp set for Christmas. It has really, really good greetings where you don't have to do too much of anything else. The greeting carries the card. Okay, so stamp that straight down in the center. There's my Merry Christmas. Done. And the other part of the embellishment or ornamentation of my baubles is using the Delicate Pine. So I'm using the Delicate Pine stamp set for this large frond, which becomes the Christmas tree that my baubles will be in, and also this teeny tiny little snowflake. Now, to make your baubles more realistic, a really small decorative image helps to give them some ornamentation. So it doesn't really matter what sort of shape it is, but just something quite small. So you could use that little leafy image or that little leafy image as well. But I like the circular nature of the snowflake. And if I put one right in the middle, it sort of decreases the illusion of the 3D nature of the bauble. So I'm going to sort of stamp them around the outside edge. And even though I didn't do it on the other one, I might put a couple on this one as well. There we go. All right. So that's my red and vanilla baubles done. I'll just close up my red ink pad. Now I'm going to do exactly the same treatment with the Pool Party circles and my Coastal Cabana ink. Okay, and the same deal again, only adding ink right on the outside edge. Now Coastal Cabana is a similar, darker version of Pool Party. So these are good little colour buddies to have together, Pool Party and Coastal Cabana. All right, one, and then the next one. And the same deal with any blending. The more colour you add, you can just keep adding layering of colour. Oops, sorry, I didn't realise I was so far down. Here you go. Only adding to the edges, right on the very edges, and that gives you your 3D illusion of colour. It gives you depth of colour on the edges. And I'm really trying to get a fairly deep colour here, so I'm just using those brushes right on the edges. There we go. And then my last one. So the Pool Party also takes on a totally different hue when you add the Coastal Cabana ink to the edges of it. Okay, and a little bit more colour to this one too. There we go. And then while I've got that with my little snowflake, again, stamping off the edge makes it look like it's flowing around, okay? And that one just off the edge there. So that looks far more rounded than if you just stamped it straight in the middle. So stamping off the edge really helps you give that 3D illusion. Now these are the prettiest Christmas colours together. If you like these colours, I challenge you to join in the Colour Inspiration Challenges. Okay, I think, oh no, I need the Coastal Cabana a bit more. So that's all my baubles done. 1, 2, 3. I've got another red one somewhere that disappeared. Hopefully I'll find it by the time I put the card back together. While I've still got my Coastal Cabana ink, I'm going to use this lovely frond image from the Delicate Pines to create what I think looks like a Christmas tree. Okay, I'm just going to stamp it sort of all over the top, all over, giving that lovely leafery, and then some for the inside as well. I'm not going to put any baubles on the inside, but I do want to make it look interesting on the inside of the card. And then also adding more ink to the edges to make it look fuller. Gives it that shadow of actually being a real Christmas tree. And also smooths out any stamping you may need smoothing for. Okay, and this one's for the front, so I'm going to give it lots of lovely layering of colour. That beautiful Coastal Cabana, doesn't it? It's amazing. We actually have a white Christmas tree, so it will be hard for me to stamp what my Christmas tree looks like. Hard to get a white one. but it does mean you can use any colour with it, I guess. Okay, right, now I can take all of my scraps away and keep an eye out for my lost bauble, which has disappeared off the face of the earth. There we go, pop you back so you can see what it is. Oh, there it is, it was just hiding underneath. And I'm just going to layer these up, both panels, onto my Real Red mats. There we go. One for the front. And to make it easy for me, I often have exactly the same size cardstock for the inside of my card as for the front of my card. Okay, now I'll pop this one on the inside. That's my inside panel done. So you get that beautiful continuation of gorgeous colour and leaf fronds. And then, before I stick that on, I'm going to put it sideways and try and arrange my baubles sort of a bit how I want them to go. So it's not exactly how they're going to go, but sort of, so that I can see what I'm doing. I need you to go over just a touch, because I like them overlapping the actual card. And then I'm going to use my Real Red marker and a ruler and just freehand dot a line. Okay, that's that one. And this one. And this one. Got a sort of about the middle. I haven't stuck them on yet, so I'm going to move those ones out of the way. And do you, trying to be parallel to the edge, whoops, of my card. And last of all, you. Is that about the middle? Okay. So this is just to create the illusion of my baubles. Okay, so now before I stick them on, I'm going to stick this on to the front of my card using my edge pieces. I love edge pieces for putting a whole panel on the front of a card. Edge pieces of dimensionals. There we go. It doesn't matter how crooked or wild they look on the back of the card, because no one will ever see. Another one there, and then this one here. There we go. And another bit there, another bit there. Okay. Pop that on the front of my card, lining that up in the center there. And then all of these are going to have dimensionals on the back of them. So those pool party ones look almost Coastal Cabana. The cardstock even looks Coastal Cabana. Until you flip them over, look at the difference. Isn't that beautiful, the difference between that and that? The depth of colour is gorgeous. There we go. Right. Now, this one's going to be my feature one, so I'll pop him on first, and then I'm going to tuck some of the others underneath. So, Merry Christmas. There's my dingle dangle for it. So I'm going to go sort of in order of size, really. This one goes over here. And thank you, everyone, for joining me today. It's lovely to have you here. Now, this one goes up there. No, up there. This one goes here. I'll pop you behind. And then this is the last one over here. Now that looks pretty cool, but I do love giving them all a little bit of detail at the top of each bauble. Now these guys, the lesser baubles, I have tied a little bow out of the Very Vanilla Baker's Twine, out of the Baker's Twine Essentials pack. And I have done them beforehand because I find them a bit tricky to do with my long fingernail. I'm not used to long fingernails, so they take a bit more time than I usually take to tie a bow. So I've done all them and stuck them along a strip of mini glue dots. It's a great way to prepare any of your bows and things. Just pop them along. Oh, yeah, one here. Now, probably should trim a couple of these. This one, give you a bit of a trim. This one, because you're little. I didn't trim the ones from my example, obviously. And you can come down it. And then this bow here is the Majestic bow because it's the main bauble. So I'm going to do a special bow tying technique here with my fingers to make a double bow. So you start off with your thumb and your forefinger and a tail. Okay, so make that tail a decent size because you're going to use that to tie a knot. And then put my fingers apart and wrap the ribbon around. Hold between my thumb and my forefinger. I've done it twice. Okay, so I've got the end of my ribbon still attached to the roll. This is the tail we started off before, so I bring that one up to the front of my fingers, into the middle, oops, into the middle, and then I'm going to tie a knot with that around the tail that is still connected to the spool. Okay, it is a bit tricky, I will give you that. Okay, I'm not trying to tie it too tight because the last time I did this I had trouble getting it off my fingers. So now I'm going to tie it really tight. Okay, at the back of the bow, and look at that. Spread that out. Isn't that a luxury? This is beautiful ribbon. It's got a lovely sheen to it. There is one side that's shiny, the other side's flat, so that's why this particular type of bow works so nicely, because you get to show off all the lovely shiny parts. And again, I'm going to use my mini glue dots for that one. Stick the ribbon onto the dot, lift it off, and stick that straight onto my... And then the last thing, because Christmas you need sparkle, I'm going to use my favourite Christmas sparkles this year. Everybody needs these sparkles, and these are the Traditions of Christmas. I think they're not available just at the moment. They've been so popular. So popular, because rightly so, because they're stunning. I'm just adding sparkles randomly around so that it looks pretty, really. And these ones actually are pool party, so I'm going to add a couple of those to our large bauble. And I've run out of my pool parties, so that might have to do. I'm very tempted to use those last 3 red ones up, but I won't. No, it's probably enough, Julia. The temptation is real, though. There you go. You can make a Christmas card easily from any stamp set you have. You just need a leafy image, any circle device you have, punches or dies, and a bit of ribbon and a bit of shading with ink, and you could make a bauble card that easily. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll come back and reply to all of your comments as soon as I'm finished, and I'll see you next week. Bye.